Hey, it's the Chubby Bartender Podcast with your host, Jason Gillum and Chad Reynolds. With a special guest each week. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Hey, we're back.
Hey, it's been a minute. How's it going, man?
We've been busy.
Yeah, we had Jeeping for Joy and all that stuff.
We were matching shirts today.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't even plan that.
No.
Didn't even plan it.
Where's yours? Oh,
he
didn't
forgot.
go.
Oh,
Yeah.
he didn't go.
No, he didn't go.
Yeah, this was our favorite shirt.
Yeah.
It's my new favorite shirt.
Yeah,
so.
and you didn't get one, Tyler.
Yeah. Man, he doesn't even rate like a free shirt on the house.
I may give him a
hey,
sticker.
separate event, dude.
He has to eat the rest of that snapping turtle jerky before.
Now, I think all the listeners saw and know how we feel about the snapping turtle jerky. I mean, I would say that that's not real jerky. I think somebody might have possibly might have shit in the bag. Yeah. I don't know what that is. Yeah.
I tried to get Ian to take it last night. He would.
Oh, dude, he probably had listened to the podcast.
No, he hadn't seen it yet.
Okay, anybody that had listened to the Mike Davis podcast with me when we both tried that and watched your face laughing as we were trying to chew that, I think
you want some? No.
Oh, yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah. He'll dive right on that. Yeah, he'll dive right on that.
In your wheelhouse.
Yeah. Well, I don't know that that's in anybody's wheelhouse. I'll bet that has a shelf. I bet that sits on the shelf in that store wherever it is. Although it's kind of intriguing.
Sales job, just in case you weren't there.
Yeah, you'll walk by there. You'll walk by it though. It'll get people every time. How many bags that there's been a ton of bags that I purchased, and then every time they open it up, and there's not one person out there like, man, that's delicious.
Guarantee it's not on back order.
No, it's not.
We got to thank a few guys. Who you want to start with first?
I'll tell you who I'd like to start with, man. I want to talk about earning the day. I just been to a high school football game. Started last weekend. We saw that, and man, those guys are doing a great job working with young kids. I saw them standing down there on the sideline. I mean, they're motivating kids.
Next week.
All right, man. Yeah. I mean, hey, I just think it's they got a great thing going there. They earn every day. I think they're making kids better, not only athletically, but in life.
That's right. And, AP Prep, boys.
Yes.
APPrep.info. Look them up. You can check out their website. You can see all their class schedules. You can set the time, go see them. Look them up at APPrep.info and AP Prep at Instagram and AP Prep at Facebook. Go look them up.
Yeah.
Who else we got?
Well, have you heard of anybody looking for a job?
Well, there should be a lot. We're going to talk about that too.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they're... hopefully there'll be more, and this company does a great job of trying to get people
placement company.
Getting people into the workforce.
ThinkHigher.com. You can check those guys out. They've got a ton of jobs that they are looking to fill. So give those guys a call at 740-395-0100. Look them up at ThinkHigher.com, and I think all you got to do is send them your driver's license, and then tell them what you're looking for, and boom, I promise you they'll get you to work.
Yeah, they put people to work.
Even if you're not happy in your current situation, you're looking for something new, give them a call.
Call them.
All right. Who else we got,
well, hey, how are insurance rates?
Hey, great.
I mean,
yeah.
Life insurance I've been seeing a lot of life insurance. I've been seeing a lot of farms being insured, and again, your classic vehicles, a lot of
cars.
those. Yeah. I mean, it looks like you guys have been busy at Gillum Insurance.
Well, with COVID firing back up, every time that happens, I've noticed phones start ringing about life insurance.
Yeah.
So give me a call, 740-395-0357, or shoot me an email at jason.gillum@american-national.com. Tyler's laughing over here. He's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So pretty easy to get with. So let us know if we can help you.
Yeah. Hey, man, another thing, I've been thinking about building an enormous steel structure.
Well, I know who to call.
Well, who would you call?
Go Fat Massey at Geiger Brothers, 740-286-0800. Geiger Brothers Construction. Hey, I saw their company jet yesterday.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do they have it like labeled and striped?
Well, I noticed that it was extra capacity for old Massey.
Oh,
and it was the largest one at the air show.
Did they add another engine?
They should have. Yeah.
Okay. So are you saying that he is straying from the discipline that he was showing?
No, I think he's still getting after it pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's been a while
matter
since
of fact, I got to play at his house this Friday.
Oh my, that'll be.
He's
fun.
having a retirement party for a couple of his people.
Oh, that'll be great.
Got a big tent and everything. So, hey, can't thank those guys enough jumping on board with us. Geiger Brothers Construction. So, Scott and Eric, thank you, and Kayla.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Hey, we appreciate the sponsorship.
And now, hey, have you got into the rewards program?
You know what? I was just going to talk to you about that.
How many points you got?
I have not looked today, but I'll tell you what. I've got to become a little bit more strategic, because as I get coupons that come up, I just go ahead and use them.
I got 5,000 points just sitting there waiting on a deal.
Is that right?
Yeah.
See, I don't even know what I'm doing, dude.
Oh, you look in the top right corner.
Oh yeah, well you know, like when you go to, I'm not trying to advertise for somebody else, but like Speedway has that points program, and every 3 or 4
you get you a free soda.
Yeah, and Walgreens has something like that, and every time hey man, you can get $5 off. I'm like, well, fire it up, just do it.
Yeah,
but I think I could probably be a little more strategic.
Oh, I get something free every day from McDonald's.
Well, yeah, I mean, dude, I told you, since I've been doing this app.
Yeah.
I mean, look, Brad, price. I'm sorry. I mean, I have not paid full price for a meal from McDonald's.
Are you using it? I'm not. Well, you're ridiculous. You're still cutting your grass.
Well, no. He's cutting his grass. He's rich. Pudge.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
That's what it is. You don't need to cut.
Yeah. That's what it is.
Yeah. Well, he's saving all that money. From cutting his own grass.
Yeah, there it is.
He's like, Brad.
Yeah, there you go.
With Brad and Sarah Munn of Jackson, Oak Hill, Wellston, and MacArthur McDonald's. Hey, get the app.
Get the app. Buy their sandwiches. Buy their apple fritters. They're unbelievable.
I told him the other day. I said, "Hey, listen. I think the chubby bartenders needs a little credit." And he said, "Why is that?" And I said, "I can't even have a spot." I said, "I just made up a number on my parking spot." Whenever I said, "Are you already here?"
Yes.
I said I hit 6. You don't have a 6, but I told him 6.
Yeah.
Full. It was full.
You put our sign out there.
That's what we need. I said, ever since you started advertising with us, I said, you can't even find a place parked down here, man. Yeah,
we're killing him with, he's probably like, well, I like that, but like everybody's paying half price for their food.
Well, yeah. But he doesn't have to clean up after our mess.
There you go. Yep. There you go.
Yeah, drive-throughs.
Yeah. Hey, Mun, we appreciate it. Mun family. Been a great job, great influence on the community over the last 40 years.
Yep. We got anybody else? That's it. That's it.
Hey, I think we got everybody.
Is that it, Tyler? It has been too long. I'm forgetting. Yeah. But hey, we got ourselves a special guest.
Oh my!
This evening, we've talked about this guy now. Hey, and by the way, we have been up in this building a year. This show,
1 year. This show, 1 year. Here we go.
Yeah. So
nicely decorated.
We're gonna have to wake the judge up after all those sponsors there.
Yeah.
Man.
No. I came here with one burning question because when I heard Ethan's podcast and you were rattling off I want to tell the world there's not a sign over here with all those numbers and stuff. He really did that off the top of his head. So anybody that's out there that's skeptical like I was, it's like he really can do that. That's all right.
Well, I'd say I know we've been doing, at least Munn and Prater and Massey and me.
Yeah.
We've been doing those a year.
Yeah, so they've been on there for a long time.
I got to have them down by now. And the higher organization, I share an office building with them. So I pretty well got their stuff down. But it's been a year. We've had some great guests. It's just crazy. I was looking at my pictures on my phone, and it had our picture out here 1 year ago on August 19th.
Yeah. Unreal.
So that's crazy, man.
Boy, I'll tell you, it goes fast. 2 shows a week. Boom, boom, boom.
So this is like the anniversary show.
Almost, we didn't even know it.
We didn't even know it. Yeah, and this is our 3rd studio up here, I believe, in a year.
Yeah, we started on that side, went upstairs, and it's too hot up there now, so we're here for the summer. Who knows? I kind of like it down here, man. I don't know if we'll go back upstairs.
Yeah, I don't know. Might be a wintertime thing.
Yeah, let us know.
Yeah, let us know. Comment on there.
Yeah.
So, hey, we don't know what we're going to talk about with the Judge Michael. How do we address you? How do you want us to address you? Judge Michael?
Well, I think you're going to start. We sort of talked about this before we started. I think this is sort of the Judge Michael section of the show.
Okay.
And wherever that goes is fine and that kind of thing. And yes, I'm still a judge and I'm doing retired work and doing some mediation for the court up here and have a case in Logan and one in Columbus. And I'll have more assignments as it goes along. So I'm still bound by the same things that I've always been bound by. So I can't endorse anybody. If you're out there running, I can't say anything for you or against you. So you're safe or
or not.
Otherwise. Yeah. I don't know. So anyway, but I would like to, to me, I've been Judge Michael for 30 years.
Yeah.
I lost my first name 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And people who I've known all my life, call me Judge. And it's like, oh, come on. And I never kind of got over the idea that I was what I was, and, I guess I'll talk about some highlights, but one of the things that's difficult in that job is because you're touching so many important things in other people's lives. I've stared at a piece of paper before and gone, how in the world did society trust me to sign my name and change somebody's life? And if you don't kind of go, gosh, I hope this is right. Maybe you should do something.
I bet you did that every day, didn't you?
Well, there were days where I just signed my name, didn't care.
Yeah.
I was tired, and it was, or if it's perfunctory stuff that's, hey, I can fix it if it's wrong. But when you're doing real world-changing things, life-changing things for people, you really should, and I think I did 99% of the time, really look at it from the, wow, it's a privilege and an honor and a responsibility to be able to do those things. But the other side of that is, if you do that every day, you better have a good time. Right? And you better figure out a way to sort of not take yourself too seriously and think you're more than you are, and not lose touch with the people that you see at Kroger's every day. Right.
That's what's neat about you. You had to, you'd see them on Monday morning, and on the weekend you'd run into them at Kroger. You had to live with these people.
Well, yeah, sure. In a big city, you shop in your upper middle class neighborhood, and you go take care of everybody else during the week. Here, it's all the same. I could,
everybody's in a cage.
I could hear people screaming in Walmart at their kids, and I knew who they were. And I knew, it's like, don't go down aisle 3.
I know, Jimmy. I'm not going down.
Not going down.
No macaroni tonight, kids.
That's right.
I think I had my first run-in with you whenever I was I think it was a speeding ticket.
Is that right?
I think, whenever I was 16. I think I got a speeding ticket. Or no, I'll tell you what it was. It was, remember when they used to give noise ordinances for your stereo?
Yeah.
I got 2 of those.
Being a music fan, I was a big fan of that.
You know what? You said, and what were you listening to? And I think the first one I got, I was listening to Tom Petty, and you said, well, that's pretty good. You said I can take it easy on you on that one.
It's fine.
Just give me 20 hours and we're good.
I'm proud to say, never stood in front of Judge Michael.
Never did. I did twice.
As far as that just tells you what a goody two shoes I was.
Yeah, man, Chad didn't have no fun, did he?
Yeah. No speeding. No. Was never in his court on the wrong side of it.
Okay. I always thought it was neat because you you were the judge, and then your kids were just like me, and they were listening to the because you just back then you didn't know what to expect out of a judge's family and stuff, because you couldn't really dive into their personal life like you can now. There wasn't social media, so you didn't and I thought, oh man, they're just like me, they're listening to the same stuff I'm listening to, and I always thought that was pretty neat.
Well, again, if you're in a small town, that kind of thing, you can't lose your way.
Right.
And you are visible. People do know what you did, and whether you talk to them, in election years and never any other time. That's not hard for me because I just like people.
Yeah.
So that's never been an issue because I just wanted to do it.
Yeah.
So, some people aren't as outgoing as the 3 of us, obviously,
right.
And and it's difficult for them, and that doesn't make them bad or wrong or anything like that. I just think it makes it easier to be recognized. I 2 years ago when I went to the county fair, a guy that was probably 35 comes up and he goes, Judge Michael, I want to thank you. You kind of saved my life. And I was like, well, that's pretty big.
Yeah.
I said, tell me about it. He said, you remember me? And I said, 8,000 cases later, probably not.
Yeah.
And I said, you must not have done anything bad enough because the bad kids I really remember.
Yeah.
So And I remember you.
Yeah.
More about rumor than about.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure it was like a religious song that I got in trouble listening.
Gospel.
It was gospel. I had cranked.
Right. Yeah, I'm sure that's true. But anyway,
You probably get that a lot. People walking up to you like that, don't you?
well, it happens. I've had a lot of people, especially, I don't know, when I was going out the door, I had a lot of people say very nice things, and I, humbled, really. I mean, I take pride in the fact that I had a great staff, that we took seriously the job that we thought, and did it the way we thought it fit where we lived, and I did enough stuff. I ran with Casey Jones when I was in high school, so we did some stuff, right?
Yeah.
So
Not Casey.
Casey.
Another man at the foot of the cross.
Just like ourselves.
But the thing was, I guess I knew enough to know to separate the stuff that was bad from the stuff that was just being 15
Kids
and
being
stupid.
kids. Yeah.
And I'm sure I missed some. I'm sure that I missed it on both sides of the equation, but I think we over police everybody. There are things that don't belong in front of a judge. There are 14-year-olds who shouldn't have to sit and feel like they come into a formal place that says everything about you, that you're bad.
Right.
Now, that at the wrong age and in the wrong circumstance. Truancy. All right. Not for the kid that misses 80 days, but for the kid that, everybody has those. I don't want to say everybody because it's not true. Many, many kids. Let's start with the premise that I believe. Every 15-year-old boy is brain dead. Okay? Let's start there. I can tell you the age of a kid by the story they tell me.
Yeah.
They'll tell you, you're 15, aren't you? Yeah. And the thing is that if they get in with the wrong people and do stuff and they end up in court and everything, I really believe that truancy is a school problem. I really don't believe that those kind of things belong in a court. I think if it's bad enough that you should chase the parents. They should be. Now, in 30 years, I could never get everybody, when it was schools and prosecutor's office and attorneys and everybody, that all has to be coordinated to attack a problem like that. And you can get all hardcore and everything and do stuff, but they'll wear you out because where do you stop with the enforcement part? If I'm going to hold somebody's parents responsible, you got to come to this meeting, you got to go to the class. Now all of a sudden I got mom and dad and they're looking at me and I work second shift. You got a 7 o'clock thing. I can't be there. I lose my job, and you're making all these exceptions. And it's hard, to coordinate those kind of things. The other thing is that, when the kid, I had kids that, all of a sudden they're doing great. And I'm talking about my kids, all of a sudden doing great and they hit 15 or 16 or whatever. And they kind of think that they're bigger than they are. And all of a sudden, Aaron wasn't at school today or Adam wasn't at school or whatever it was, and it's like, okay, so you deal with it, right? Well, you can make that a court case if you want to.
Yeah.
Right. But
you don't think it belongs?
No. And most of the kids that are missing, if you got a third grader or first grader and they're missing 3 days a week, that is not a 6-year-old problem, right? That's mom or dad or caretaker or whoever that is. Yeah. But we're not.
Yeah, I can't imagine throwing Gib out there.
We're not equipped. We're not equipped to take that thing on. That's a social service issue. And social services aren't equipped for it because they're not held, and not that they should be held responsible for it, but it's not part of their job. And somewhere in that, it's like, I had a rule. If the kid's feet can't touch the floor, I'm not bringing them in the courtroom.
Yeah.
Okay. Because
that ain't their problem.
I'm not going to deal with that and label them something. That was my. Now I have a lot of other things that I'm sure that there are judges that would totally disagree and do a wonderful job dealing with the issue. So I'm not here to criticize people who disagree with me. It just was my perspective. And when you have an under-resourced court like we do, you got to pick what's the most important, and that's what you're going to concentrate on, or you're going to work 80 hours a week, and emotionally and physically, and
just exhausted.
You can't do it. So, when I was younger, I was doing the 60-hour weeks and, having night court and doing stuff on the weekends and stuff like that. And it's all right, but it's not something you can
not sustainable.
Can't do that for 30 years.
Yeah.
So Judge Michael, tell me, you were talking about, the county, probably the court here is perhaps underserved, underfunded, whatever in Jackson County, or maybe there are some difficulties. You're a guy that's from Jackson County. You grew up here.
Yeah.
You go off to school, and then you come back to practice here, and then, next thing you know, you're on the bench. I'm always intrigued, and the thing I've always admired are people that are from here that come back here to do that. Was that something that you always knew you wanted to do, or did you originally think, I'll probably just graduate from law school, go to Columbus or New York or wherever
I want to go?
Yeah.
Well, I think that's complicated, I guess, in one sense. But 15-year-olds in geometry class, I decided I want to be a lawyer. Okay. I wanted to be a lawyer because I was politically conscious.
Yeah, geared up.
Okay. Business and politics was our dinner time conversation at my house.
At your house?
Yes.
Did I know the Michael parents?
Well, my dad was a dentist.
Dentist.
Yeah.
Okay.
And my mom was from Australia, so usually
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I have an immigrant mother. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Who came over after the war.
After World War
II. And married my dad in the Presbyterian church down the street.
2 blocks down.
Right.
Yep.
And came over from Australia to do it.
So are you like Joe Michael's?
No relation whatsoever. We have my uncle Tito or Theodore was from Wellston. He ran Michael's in Wellston.
Okay.
My other uncle ran Michael's dress shop across the street from here on the corner.
Okay.
And that was my dad's oldest brother.
Okay.
And he was 17 years older than my dad. And there was a miscarried kid between my dad and his older brother, Theodore. Anyway, so we as a family, they bought Michael's building over there that's now a tax thing, I think, for $625 in quarters. They lived on the 3rd floor.
It's right on the alley. That's one right on the alley.
Their supply stuff was on the 2nd floor, and they dealt out of the 1st floor.
And they lived on the 3rd floor, climbing no elevators back in.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that was European, right? Everything in Holland and those things, they all built that way. You lived where you worked, and So anyway, my oldest uncle was born in Glenroy because they lived in the coal fields. They came here to be coal miners, and my second uncle Theodore was born in that store, and then my dad was born at 8 Harding Avenue, where Bob Zinn lived. On Harding Avenue, up from the funeral home.
Yes,
yeah.
That was my grandparents' house.
Okay.
They bought that, and when my mom came here, my grandmother lived there. My grandfather, Michael, died in 1920, and that's a whole story. Anyway, his name was Edward, and he and Joseph Matuk, who changed his name to Michael.
Okay.
Michael's Ice Cream, because they were Lebanese. We were Welsh.
Okay.
Okay. They were big friends. Now, here's our family story.
Okay.
The other Michaels have a different family story. Basically, World War I, everybody that had foreign names were changing their names to
American names.
English-sounding,
yeah.
anglicized names, sound American, right?
I was a Gilliam.
And the story on our side was kind of a joke. Like he said, hey, I got to change my name to something. We're good friends, and it starts with an M. What if I borrowed your name? And he goes, that's okay with me, because our real family name is Jones, and there's a whole story behind that too. And if you want it, take it. Now they have a different story, which is kind of interesting. So, anyway, we're not related, but we claim each other.
Yeah.
Becky Taylor or Becky Michael Taylor, right? Bless her heart. She and I kind of looked. We were both short, both wore glasses, had brown hair, and we always sat beside each other in school. Yeah. And we told all the teachers we were twins, and we were born on the same day.
Really?
Oh my goodness! Yeah.
So they all. They look at the records and go, "Oh crap!"
They would know.
And they both had Edward Michaels as fathers.
Yeah.
Right? And so I kind of looked at that for a while till I looked at I met the other Edward Michael, satisfied myself that my dad wasn't living two lives. Anyway.
Tyler and I are kind of like that. He's a Gillum, I'm a Gillum, and we're not relation that we know, but that's my little brother. If anybody asks, so I mean that's the way we kind of. I know what you're saying on people just kind of went with the name, and in school that's just what letter in the alphabet you are. That's what you sit by,
right?
Yeah. So I knew there was something though that you guys I knew there was a tie though to like the other Michaels somehow.
Yeah. Well, of course, I mean the families have been friends forever. And that kind of thing, and we ate a lot of peanuts, and visited the store. My dad used to. On the right days, he would get in the car and we would drive to the Gibson Hotel so he could buy a Jackson Sun Journal, and because you had to go to the hotel to buy it, right? They didn't deliver. And we went to the Gibson, and then after the Gibson, we'd go get ice cream.
Okay.
And that was a big deal.
That was a big deal.
And it was, so... God, I sound old. Jeez. Okay.
That Gibson Hotel used to seem huge,
but
now that
you must have had positive memories of the area growing up here.
Oh, sure.
And you wanted to come back.
Oh, you asked me why I came back.
Yeah.
See how I get?
Yeah, that's
this could last.
No, that's great.
Now.
No, that's great. Yeah. That's what we're here for, man.
Well, anyway, okay. So in 15, I decided I want to be a lawyer because that's my entry into politics.
Okay.
Okay. So... you got to go to some school before that, so I suppose I wanted to go somewhere. I went to a private school my last year of high school in Pittsburgh, and that was an experience, which could be that's a whole different thing.
Would you do it again? Go to a private school?
I wish I'd have been mature enough. Yeah, I didn't mind it.
Didn't mind missing out on your senior year of high school?
No, I think I had a much better year than they did. But anyway, no, I don't know. I don't know how to put that. So
right now you've got that going on a lot. There's a lot of people homeschooling, moving schools. There's all schools right now seem to just be pissed.
Yeah. Well, I can't judge that. So your Aunt Janice put together a going away party for me when I went to that school.
Okay.
Patty Jenkins Washam and all those girls all came out to the house. And, it was a great party because all she did was bring girls.
Yeah.
So, but, it was interesting. I mean, in the sense, and I'm a information junkie. I don't care what I do as long as I learn something. Don't hit the table. And so I took it on that way. I went with, hey, this will maybe help me get into a better school, do something.
You were that adamant about being a lawyer then at 15 hey, this is a step I got to take.
Well, I was schooled by my dad, that, education's the most important thing that you can have. You have that, you can do anything you want. So, he wanted me to go. I didn't want to disappoint him, and there was all mixed up. I could have gone. I actually had to go back to be a junior again. I had to repeat a year to get in. But the way it worked out, the coursework, I had all the credits I need to graduate. So after I did a year, I was like, I really don't want to go back there. So Otterbein College, where my brother went, had written me a letter and said, you're admitted without applying. So if you want to come ahead. I didn't. I got out of high school. I worked for Jack Stifler for a while. And it didn't start at Otterbein till the winter quarter.
Was you doing with him taxes or outdoors farm?
Oh, no, not that Jack. Old Jack.
Old Jack.
Yeah, ran the store.
Still department store.
Yes. 85 cents an hour. Thank you. Yeah. And he reminded you how much it cost him every day. Yeah. But anyway, again, learned a lot. From people. And if I ever had an expertise, it's about people. And if you got that, you really pretty much can do anything. And so anyway, after I did all that, I went to Otterbein. There's a whole thing. They wrote me a letter after a year. Maybe you've come to the wrong college. Maybe you want to go somewhere else. We took over the radio station one night. We toilet papered the president's house. We did all kinds of high school juvenile crazy stuff, and it was the wrong place for me. So I went to OU where nobody cared what you did. And got a good education. I got a good education at Otterbein. The year I was there, they were very good at what they did, except 1970 was a tough year for Otterbein College because they were burning down Ohio State.
Oh, yeah.
They won the national championship and about burnt the whole high street down.
Was that the Kent State year?
Yes.
Yeah. Was that or 69, 70? When was
70.
70.
Yeah, May the
My mom 4th, was
May the 4th, I think.
My mother was a 1970 graduate of Otterbein.
Yes.
That year.
Right. Yeah, she went. Loretta Evans went there.
Yeah, her sister had been there.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I bet Columbus was on literally on fire, but I bet Columbus was like a hot zone back
odd
then.
time, dude.
That Kent State thing was big, wasn't it?
Oh yeah.
In those times, I mean, so you had your buddies that was going off to war in Vietnam, and then you had the Kent State thing, and I mean, I'd say I bet it was like it was last summer all the time.
All right. I know this,
but no media.
I'm just full of stories.
Sure, well, that's why you're here.
After Art Schleister led the Buckeyes to before I'm sure he had a bet on the game.
I bet you did. Who knows? Yeah. Who knows at that point? Yeah.
But anyway, after they win, they had the celebration uptown. They broke every window on North High Street from about 10th Avenue to Lane. Okay, I mean everything was wrecked. The glass, the street in front of the Union was this thick. From where they just busted stuff and threw it out in the streets. Now, these were Ohio State fans. These were not rioters.
This wasn't a race war. This was just...
No, this was no...
This is just Buckeyes.
What do Buckeye football fans and Antifa have in common?
There was nothing... There was nothing ideological about this. Yeah. Okay, so I'm up there and I'm walking down the sidewalk and you just crunch in the glass. And here comes a guy down 11th Avenue, which is one way into High Street, right? Yep. Dead ends into High. And there's a cop there. And this guy's in a little tiny car and he's like, is a sea of people. And, the policemen, sometimes they don't use better judgment. And the guy's like, I can't go out there. What am I supposed to do? Well, it's a one-way street. You can't turn around. You're just going to have to drive from here and go up there and then make a right and come back. So he gets out in this thing, and I mean literally couldn't move, right? So he's getting frustrated. So he kind of honks a little bit and he moves
the
a
car,
little bit.
bad move.
Yeah. He bumps some girl. She screams,
Yeah.
right? Somebody looks down and goes, oh, crap, he's got Michigan license plates. And see, this is right after the Michigan game. Because they would have won because they beat Michigan.
Yeah.
Well, they dragged him out of the car. I have no idea what happened to him. I mean, other than being cut on the glass, in the street. They turned the car over and set it on fire.
Right. My
goodness. It was nuts. So then I'm leaving that, and I walk up the street, and here comes this guy. He runs by me in a cowboy hat and sneakers. Okay, it's because streaking was a big deal.
Yeah, nothing else. Yeah.
And zoom, he goes by me, and I'm like, oh, geez. So I don't know where exactly, but there was a Sunoco station, and they had a bathroom, and I went there. And I went in there, and there's all these people, and they're all yammering about what they'd seen. And I said, see that? I said, look, I was down there. This guy comes by me. He's buck naked except for shoes and a cowboy hat. And I was like, and they're all like, oh, man, that's too much. And the stall opens, and the guy has a cowboy hat, and he puts it on, and he goes, like this one?
Oh, man.
And I was like, that is too great.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I go to law school finally after.
Where'd you go to law school at?
Northern.
Okay.
I was married, and my wife, all my kids' mom, still had to graduate from OU. So I worked at McDonald's.
Now let's talk about OU.
Munn family. And worked there for 9 months.
Okay.
Tried to unionize the workers. I was a real, we were trying to talk the guy into, like 10 cents an hour. Oh, you don't understand. You think I make all this money. And he had 13 stores, and I've got all this mortgage, and I got this, and I only make 8%. It's like, and everybody went, oh. And I said, 8% of what?
Right. Yeah.
And he's like, shut up. And so anyway, and I was like, so, that's $200,000 times 13. You're doing okay, right? All we want's a dime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I didn't go anywhere, but it gave me a lot of practice. Anyway, it was interesting to do, and I learned a lot there.
So let's talk about OU though.
Okay.
So you're in OU though during the McGuffey Lane days. During tell me about OU. I don't know much about OU in 1970. I know about OU in 2002 through 2006, and I mean it was wild.
Okay. Now we're either going to transition now.
Yeah.
That's fine. Transition.
Let's say goodbye, Judge Michael.
Goodbye, Judge Michael.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's a great guy.
Yeah.
He's now retired.
Okay. Yeah.
When he dies, say nice things about him.
Yeah.
It was an honor to be the judge, and I wanted to do it. I graduated from law school. I was a lawyer in Oak Hill for a year. I'll sum that up and go away.
Okay.
In a year, I knew I wanted to work for kids.
Okay.
That's what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to be the juvenile judge. The juvenile judge, when I started, I think was George Skurlock. George died in the middle of a term. Tom DeLay took his last 2 years. When he ran, I said, Judge DeLay, I said, I'll back you and I'll help you and I'll go door to door and I'll do whatever you want. But next time I'm running.
Yeah.
That's fine with me. He had a little hiccup at the end and thought he might want to run again. And I said, run if you want, but I'm running. So anyway, he decided not to run. I ran against Bud Douthit and won, and then did 5 terms. So I think
how long is that term? 6 years?
6. So it was 30 years.
Wow.
And it went by in a flash, and it was great. I loved it.
I bet that did. I bet that went by in a flash. So really, you would have been fairly new at it dealing with me, because you're talking 1990.
I started in 91.
Yeah, I'd been 95, 96, whenever.
Yeah. I was just getting my feet on the ground. It took about 3 years to get to the place. I was like, okay.
You were in the basement?
I belong here. Yeah, that was a treat.
He was in the basement,
yeah. Well, after the black mold took us over and ran us out, we ended up across the street. That's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
But anyway, So I did a year. I did that. I ran. I won. I was, lucky to win. I was happy. My dad had all kinds of. I learned how popular my dad was. And I was married to an Armstrong.
Oh.
And so all I had to do was say Heber Armstrong, and everybody had a student knew who I was, right?
Yeah.
And all those folks helped me. They were great people, So anyway, I got what I wanted, and I wanted a job where I could be late. Nobody could be mad at me. Okay. I could be mad at them, but they couldn't be mad at me.
Right.
And, and I wanted to help people, and I wanted to have something that didn't have a sameness to it. I can't abide repetition and detail. And that's why I had great staff to do all those things that now I don't have anybody to do for me.
Yeah.
I say, please come back and save me. Right? And the rest is kind of history. And, we kind of talked. And if you want to get around to it sometime before the 6 hours is over.
Yeah.
That's great. OU in 1970. All right. Now I'm going to do something. Do you edit this?
We do. We do.
You edit like the video, so if I do something real stupid,
we take it out. We take it out. But the reason I'm asking you about this is because I know your sons fairly well, and I've really got to know Ethan a lot more here in the last 3 months. Okay, and
you're a brave man to admit that.
Oh well, we've always been friends. It was funny when Ethan came on here. I said,
terrific.
Ethan, I said we've been friends a long time. He goes, yeah, it's just kind of like old hat now, isn't it? And I said it is. And but here in the last couple months, he's that's a new guy right there. Ethan is a new man, and but he's always, in all your sons, I know Chad can talk about, they've always stayed true to like their love of all music. And I gotta think that comes from Steve Michael at OU in 1970.
Yeah.
All right.
So take us on the musical tour.
No, let's transition.
Okay.
And I planned this.
Okay.
I knew this was coming.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Oh, very
Oh,
nice.
here we go.
Look at
Now. Oh, yes.
Now, if it's too much for your audience,
No.
watch me take my shirt off.
Oh no, I think they'll appreciate.
Oh,
that. Yeah. What's he got? Oh, here we go.
Yes.
I designed a shirt
Yeah.
that has every band I've ever seen.
Oh my.
Oh yeah, you told me you were going to do this.
Wow. Okay.
And I don't know. I'll get into the camera here in a minute. Try not to.
You can take his headphones off.
It's a new dress shirt.
They got that bottom button.
Yeah.
Yes. Which is
Oh
a great.
my.
It's great. It's great for the tuck world. Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
Every band you've ever seen.
Well, every one of note.
Okay, so now what year?
Truants aren't on here. I apologize.
Yeah. So what year would this have started? Starting to. Oh my goodness, we're going to the back too. Yeah.
Oh wow, you've seen them all.
My goodness.
I would have guessed that though, that you'd seen them all.
Well, and I'll point out if I can remember where they are.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this is what I wanted. My father was a professionally trained singer.
Okay.
He was a Welsh first tenor, and he could sing clearly C above middle C.
Okay.
I mean,
Up there.
Yeah.
and hit it,
Yeah.
So I have to give it credit to him. His love of music was deep and abiding, and I grew up listening to, Robert Wagner chorale. He loved male choral music
choral,
and loved to sing it.
What's
And
choral music?
That's like a chorus.
Chorus.
Okay.
Right? 4-part harmony with just men.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not
And-
barbershop quartet.
No, well, he liked that, but because he thought that was interesting harmony. But there was a thing called the Cavalcade Chorus that Merrill Davis was the director of, and my dad was a part of the original Cavalcade Chorus, and there were people Charlie Rice, the policeman, was a bass in that, and Tom DeLay sang in it for a while. And oh shoot, I'm going to miss all kinds of people. But there were about maybe 12 or 14 people in it when they were doing professional stuff. They did a record.
Okay.
They used to sing. The Welsh community used to be really a lot more active, and they had Gamontha Gnu's, which were Welsh singing events, and they would last like all day. And we would go to Columbus, and I was raised on this harmony, right? And wonderful singing, thus Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young, right?
Oh, yeah.
They just did something to me because I hear that same kind of, technique and, stuff in their recordings and that kind of thing. So, and he was all over the place musically for an older guy. See, I can remember when I was like 1970, I liked the Rolling Stones, right? And the Beatles.
Yeah.
When I, from 64 on. And it was like, I would watch them on TV or whatever they were doing. And it was like, what are these guys going to do when they're 70?
They're still going to do it.
Well, I thought they were going to turn into Glenn Miller.
Yeah, right.
They're all going to wear suits and have an orchestra, because that's what old people listen to.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I was wrong. They're still hopping around.
Think about a kid
Keith
now.
Richards is still.
Think about you
he's still
listening
alive.
to those you really had to be listening to hear these albums and these groups back years ago compared to a kid now. And this is not a knock. I'm just saying that kid, it's at their thumb. Can you imagine if you had all the songs in the world at your thumb all the time back then? Do you think you would have gotten more ate up with it, or do you think that you would have?
No.
It would have been too easy.
No, I think it was too easy.
Yeah.
And I think it's too scattered.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, I was lucky, and, your dad was at the same time, lucky to be in a position where you got to see the whole world of music change.
Yeah.
And I always have had.
We did with rap.
I've always had sort of sideways taste anyway, right?
No,
I always
not B-side, but
yeah, but I mean not. I always hated anything that was really popular.
yes.
Right?
Right,
if it's popular, it has to suck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If that many people like it, there's something wrong with it.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes you're wrong about that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Most
of the time not. Yeah.
No. General taste really not so great.
Yeah.
Just look around. But the idea was that I got captured again when I was 15. And I don't know why geometry class was the place that I associate all these things with. I must have had a lot of time to daydream.
Yeah.
That was a long class.
You must have been on top of geometry.
Well, I liked geometry. I did. It was very easy for me, so I didn't really, I didn't struggle with it.
Yeah.
But then I learned 50 years later that music and mathematics are basically the same thing.
Right.
And it's like, why didn't somebody tell me that when I was
Letters
15?
and numbers.
Nobody ever told me that. They talked about music like it was magic. It's not magic.
It's letters and numbers.
Right? Yeah. I really do.
The most frustrating sets of letters and numbers I've ever seen in my life, but letters and numbers.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The structure is there.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
And well, anyway, I go, at that age, I was cheap. Because I was a Welshman and my dad taught me to be that. And I remember going to the Sundry and News store, which would have been in this building, because this was connected to that at the time. This back wall used to be open, and that was Luckoff's.
Okay.
That was a store a million years ago.
This was a Sundry. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, the Sundry, didn't the storefront face over there?
Yeah.
It faced Main Street?
Yeah.
So that's what
I remember that, yeah.
Right.
Oh, I don't know that.
So anyway, I used to go through their record racks, you know, and any album that cost less than $1, I'd buy it. Because, you know, albums were $1.99.
That's
right?
big money back then.
And I going through, and I got to this thing, and it was more the album cover. See, that's what people miss.
Stinky fingers.
Yeah, you know. The album cover was this big octopus looking thing, you know, green and gray and black and all this stuff. And what it was a lot of uncopyrighted blues music from people that they could record it for nothing, right?
Yeah.
So they did this compilation, and it had Sonny Boy Williamson and Howlin' Wolf and Muddy Waters and Lightning Hopkins, and just, you know, go down the list, right? And I was like, 99 cents, why not? Right? So I took it home. I instantly fell in love with the blues. It was like, oh my God, where has this music been?
Mind blown.
Right? Yeah, really.
My dad's that way. What do you guys like about the blues?
It's rhythmic, first of all, at a subconscious level that you just really don't know till you hear it, because really the guitar in most primitive blues stuff is really a drum, right? You know, that thumb is percussion, right? That E
So
string.
this blues you're talking about, this is old blues. This is
Sun House.
Real deal. I mean,
you know,
I'll tell you, when it first
not
hit
Stevie
me,
Ray Vaughan blues, but like
no.
when it hit me was
Stevie Ray Vaughan was still in grade school.
I was the first time I went to Memphis and went into some of the bars on Beale Street and some of the restaurants and heard those guys up there just, you know, imitating
old
the greats.
swampy blues. Just
And I mean, it was awesome. And that's when I started really, you know.
But there's something nearly primitive about it that hits you in a place that Bobby Vinton didn't do.
okay.
Right, and you know all the bubblegum poppy stuff that was out there, the Supremes even.
It had to be very different. I mean, it had to feel a lot different than the mainstream.
So, you know, that was like 66. And
I can see that now. You had that bubblegum stuff, and then you had I can see that just lighting your soul on fire.
Well, then what happens is that, you know, you get, it's like, wow, you know, that's really different. I really like it. And then 2 years later, Led Zeppelin picks up Willie Dixon, and turns it on about 20, and then
melts your face, and
then turns Robert Plant.
Away we go.
Yeah.
Right. Well, see, that's the thing that I can't get across to people. I can remember picking up Led Zeppelin's first album and walking to the cash register to pay for it.
Yeah.
I was so blown away by what was on it that I can do. You know, I can remember getting Crosby, Stills, and Nash's first album and taking it, Blair Tiffany and Carrie Brown and I on my back porch, and we couldn't wait to take it out and put it on the record player.
Yeah, right.
Because you hadn't heard it.
No, and we put it on, and it was the middle of the summer, and we were just...
Where were you getting turned on to those guys though? Because like that probably wouldn't have been playing on local radio.
Underground FM stations, illegal stations.
Well, how did you find those, man? Were people broadcasting out of their basement?
Yeah, sure. There was 2 or 3 of them at OU. You know, there was a guy that used to move his studio all around because they were chasing him.
So he just jump on a frequency and then...
Well, he buys Band of Gypsies, right? And he goes, "Hey, there's a new Hendrix album," and he just put it on.
Yeah.
And you'd sit there and go, "Oh, really?" Yeah. You know, because WKE in Huntington was still doing, you know, drag strip commercials and playing to, like, my brother, who was 4 years older, you know, and he still wanted to hear Bobby Darin and, you know, the Beach Boys, who did make a transition, bless their hearts. But, you know, and they were gifted and underrated when they were poppy stuff anyway. But that changed me. It took me until about a week ago to figure out why I like music so much.
Really?
Yeah. I didn't know why. I'm a semi-follower of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Just blows me away. Been to see him twice. He's not on my shirt. Though.
Yeah.
He didn't play any solo.
No concerts. Yeah. Well, I can see we're definitely going to have a part 2 here.
Yeah.
Because I want to go down that rabbit hole as well. Yeah.
Right. Well, the thing is, the message of Buddhism, forget it. I mean, it's not religion. He's an atheist. All right. He's not going anywhere. He's not going to heaven. He doesn't want to go. He's not going to hell.
Yeah.
Now he does believe he's been here 14 times. That's a different thing.
Yeah.
But, and he told the Chinese who want to get rid of him, I might not come back. How you get to say that to somebody?
Yeah.
You want to come get me? I'm not coming back. So anyway, basically their message is we spend our whole life looking at the past or looking at the future, and the only moment you own is this one right now. And we blow our whole life in places worrying about stuff that never happens,
Or stuff that doesn't matter.
Being eaten up by stuff and thinking that if I don't spend this moment, breaking my, back trying to get another dollar, tomorrow's going to be awful or it's not going to be what I want it to be. And tomorrow comes and, now I got to really work hard because I keep my investments going and then you die. Right? And all he's saying is, look, you can still do good stuff. You can still and help people, but you have to learn to have this moment be joy for you right now. And music's the only thing that does that for me. When I listen to music, my wife gets crazy because it's like, I totally turn out.
You're listening.
I'm
your
gone.
generation's like that.
I'm gone, and it's like, and you don't even you get back from that and it's like, oh, that's great. And it's not about, being high or anything else. It's just about being occupied by something you love.
Yeah. Sure. Well, that's what, isn't that what it
now, I can zone out of TV, so I don't want to say music's the only thing. I can get like,
have you maintained over the years your vinyl collection, or do you still like to listen to vinyl, or how do you consume your music now?
I'm lazy. Apple Music.
Spotify.
I can put my own stuff together.
Yep, that's what we do. Yep, there you go.
You know what? They don't put a bad song on every time.
It's great. It's great. Yeah.
And if I want to listen to Tyler Childers and try to incorporate that into my life, which I'm working at.
I was going to say, how's that going?
It's going well, really well. No, because again, he's a poet, and you don't know it until you listen to him.
I'm really getting into this Appalachia sound.
Yeah.
I think it's speaking to me a little bit.
Well,
music-wise.
It's all around us.
Yeah.
It is us.
You see why I see why they do it. I see where they get those influences.
And so it's not hard to digest because it's always been there. I mean, we are in a melting pot in a sense. We do have a lot of things that cross through this sort of southern Ohio region, more northern stuff, a lot of country music, a lot of Appalachian, gospel music, all kinds of things, all kind of come here. So I'm never surprised that you get in a room and you'll find, I love this kind, this kind, this kind, this kind, or somebody, I hope like me, that can digest just about any kind.
Well, I'm noticing by looking at your shirt, I mean, you've got several different genres represented on there.
You think?
Yeah, I mean, you've got, so like I couldn't say, well, I mean, he's obviously a country fan, or but I can't say you're not either. I mean, you got a lot of classic country guys on there. You've got some of the biggest of
rock and roll.
I mean,
Jimi Hendrix is over my heart. So
I was going to ask you, like,
they're not rated.
They're not rated at all.
No.
Okay.
Well, I mean, when I started, Hendrix, Van Morrison, I know the Allman Brothers, Dylan, Jeff Beck, all those people
are those like top 5?
Yeah, well,
in random order. I mean,
Jeff Beck's the best guitar player in the world.
Yeah.
So let's just start.
Yeah, Bob Dylan, greatest singer. No. I love his.
He's,
I love it.
He's
Yeah.
the only person that can sell something like that.
Yeah. Oh, I know,
Right?
man. Yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
think
yeah,
of that.
Yeah.
You know,
Did you see he's in hot water
gazillion
now?
records.
Did you see he's in hot water?
What'd he do?
There's a girl now that's accusing him of something when he was 12.
Boy, come on.
No, she was a 12-year-old. He was, I think you'll have to look that up, but it was years ago. I think 60 some years, and now she's coming
Oh,
forward.
there's got to be a statute of limitations. No.
Well, it depends on the state,
Yeah,
but
Yeah.
no. Well,
Yeah, I can't speak to that.
I
Yeah,
heard the accusation.
I can remember like Gary Everett and those guys that were listening to like the Beatles.
Yeah.
And they would get so, like you was talking about tuning out. Gary's a guitar player. And he said that him and Billy McManus, they would just put on an album, and then they would sit in a room with this album playing, and they would try to play along with it and never take a break and just play right into
Let the album go.
Let the album go. And that's how they practiced. That's how they'd learn those songs. And they'd try to play them lick for lick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, to be able to do that and to be able to tune everything out and to just get in that song, there's not a lot of people doing that.
You want me to tell you my favorite story about that?
Yeah, tell me.
Please.
I got Electric Ladyland.
Electric Ladyland.
Right.
What's that?
Hendrix.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. It's got Voodoo Child on it.
yeah.
Okay. And I listened to it, and my head melted. And I was like, I have to take this to Larry Cook.
Yeah.
You know, so I called Larry up and I said, I'm coming to your house. You know, and we went into his bedroom and I said, you know, did the little thing and put the turntable on and picked the arm up. And I said, listen to this. And, you know, it starts out in 7 minutes or whatever it is, you know. And he sat there just like nothing, just, And I said, can you believe that? And he goes, play that again. Okay. I picked it up, and he picked it, put it on, picked his guitar up, and played it note for note.
Yeah.
Wow.
After we were hearing it one time.
Those guys, you talk about it. You talk about an ear.
Now, I'm not saying you didn't stumble a couple of times or not get exactly
he was
right,
there.
but it was like, look, the next time around, you're right with him.
Yeah.
Larry just, and a great
those
fellow,
people
great
back
man.
then, your ear had to be so like Gary. I mean, boom, and he'll tell you what key it's in. You know, I mean, me, I got to kind of fumble around and I can hum it out, whatever. Man, they just know because they had to hear that to tune their guitar.
Oh yeah, man.
I mean,
yeah.
I can't tell you how. I don't think the human ear will ever be that good again. Like I don't.
Well, it doesn't have to. It's gotten lazy. It's atrophied now. I mean, you don't have to do that. But
Yeah.
We'll just find out on Dylan.
Yeah.
It was in 1965. He was 24, and allegedly she was 12.
12, yeah. 1965, they're coming after him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, to hear the D chord, to hear they just had to hear that, and
Right.
to think, and I mean, to know now that I know just a little bit, I don't know anything, but to know that how they're hitting these just crazy 5-fret wide weird ass keys and chords. I don't know how they did that. I mean, how do you say?
I'll tell you, man. I've always been kind of jealous of an era like that. When you came into music, when you were coming into it, you had that big transition of like the 60s sound, and then you had the big folk scene coming through with Dylan and
early 70s stuff.
Oh man, and then all of a sudden you get these giants of rock. And were you a Beatles fan?
Oh, yes.
Big time. One of your favorite. Okay.
A worshiper from the 7th grade on.
Okay, so let me ask
They
you
just
something.
changed. I mean, just game changers, weren't they?
It changed.
Never been anything like it. I mean,
And they're still the best group. In my humble.
Yeah, there probably never will be.
I'm not talking about. The thing is, that, again, when you get older, what you get to see is, Hendrix didn't have the best setup in the world. Right? Think of what the people can do now and sound like what he did with just a wall of Marshall amps and a wah-wah pedal. Right?
Yeah.
He
And a
did-
left-handed or right-handed guitar playing it left-handed.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Upside down.
upside down.
Yeah.
Unreal. And the thing.
There's the year.
Rocky Thorson and I went to see Hendrix at Veterans Memorial in '67 after Are You Experienced came out, and we were in row X. I could take you to the seat. I remember exactly where we were. And he walked out, Noel Redding walks out, and Mitch Mitchell sits on the drums, and he's pattering around a little bit. Hendrix goes over and picks up his guitar. And all I can remember is all he did was finger one string with his middle finger and about brought the building down.
Yeah.
I mean, there were 12 Marshall amps.
That's awesome.
him,
That's awesome.
Right? They had 4 wide and 3 high.
12 Marshall
And
amps.
that's- and he
and were they mic'd into the main system too?
Yes,
Yeah.
and his stuff was his setup was the same as Noel Redding's. So when he hit the bass, on some of that stuff, I mean, literally the place shook. It was unbelievable. And, but they were inventing that stuff.
Yeah, they didn't
right?
know. Yeah.
Pink Floyd, they just sat in the studio and just twisted knobs until crap happened. You know what I mean?
Knobs were new.
Yes, it was like, what happens if we do this? Wham! It's like,
I forget who I was listening to a documentary of or something. They said they had to quit playing because at a certain point they didn't make enough sound to handle the venues that they were playing. I think it was the Beatles. Mm-hmm. You could not hear them,
right?
Because there truly wasn't. Technology hadn't got that far that they could actually fill a stadium with that rock and roll sound yet.
Right. Yeah.
It was crazy how that era right there was just all new.
Well, see, I mean, the Beatles at Shea was the first time any rock band ever went into a football or baseball stadium, right? And hey, we can fill these places up with teenagers. Are you kidding? Nobody ever thought that was possible, but nobody could ever hear them. When they played that, the soundtrack of that was just all these stupid girls screaming.
Yeah.
Now they were at that point they were kind of a bubblegum band. Right?
Yeah.
But then Rubber Soul and Revolver happened, and then Sgt. Pepper's happened, changed the world. And
Quickly.
again, and see all that happened from 66. Yardbirds would have been 66, and back then when Jimmy Page and Beck were playing with those guys, and those guys were flipping through groups like, in 66. Clapton would have been with John Mayall. Now John Mayall's on my shirt. I saw Mayall 3 times. I saw him, Larry Taylor from Canned Heat. Saw him with, the guy from the Rolling Stones. I can't think of any. That's the other thing that happens. You forget everybody's name. But these incredible musicians, and what he taught them was to be a part of a band.
Yeah.
Right. You're a really great player, but you know what? I heard a guy say the other day, a band is a drummer, a bass player, and a lot of people playing around them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, if you're the best lead player, if you don't know how to
play in that band,
you just sound
and
like
sometimes
crap.
being a great lead player is not playing lead.
Right.
I mean,
there are lead players that never learn that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the thing that I'm curious about. Okay, so you're coming through this transition. Okay, yes. I view it as a transition. Like I was going to college, coming of age musically in the '90s. I switched from heavy metal into the grunge, right? And it was like
that was a game changer.
But it was a seamless transition. I didn't notice it, and you were right in there. Where if you look at the first Beatles album, then they start transitioning into the kind of psychedelic stuff and things like that.
Well, I got to grow up with them.
That's what I mean. Did you even notice any kind of a transition as a fan? Or are you like, oh man, this is awesome. Their music is changing a little bit, but it's
sure.
Nirvana, Nevermind. Did you
when you were 14 and they were singing "I Want to Hold Your Hand," that made sense.
Sure, right. But then you just grew up with them, didn't you? I mean,
I was all about that at 14.
Yeah.
You know, by the time they were doing Sergeant Pepper's, I was expecting a little more.
Yeah, they're only 3 or 4 years older than you.
Yeah.
Well,
a little bit.
10. Well,
Probably 10. Huh?
10, yeah.
probably 10 years.
Yeah, I'm thinking of Dad.
Well, 6, 7.
yeah.
John Lennon's probably 10 years older than me.
Yeah, I think he would be 80 now.
See, I know a lot of the guys like my age that are big into the Beatles, which, I mean, that band is transcended. It doesn't matter what age you are, everybody's listening to it. But it seems looking back, like the guys my age really like their later stuff. Yeah, their later stuff. You know, and kind of the psychedelic stuff.
Like
Yeah.
Well, the interesting part about that band, in my view, is that as George Harrison matured, they got better.
Okay.
You know, "Here Comes the Sun" still is my favorite Beatles song. You know, I love, "As My Guitar Gently Weeps" and a lot of the big, those kind of, "Baby, You're a Rich Man's" one of my favorite songs, but they were starting to mess with psychedelic sounds and, that kind of thing even back then, and I go to the Clock Grill, right, and order chili amongst all the rednecks, right, and turn on Rain or something like that. Brent and Allison and I and we'd get the...
Yeah. It's like, he's from Jackson. No, we got it. Yeah. Oh, he's a local though. Let him go. Yeah.
We know he's dead.
Yeah.
He'll smack him around.
I saw this on a social media post the other day, but like Guns N' Roses or Pearl Jam 10, Guns N' Roses, the one with like the
Appetite for Destruction.
Yeah, Appetite for Destruction. Yeah. Nirvana, Nevermind. Yeah. There was like 9 albums that came out that were like game-changing albums. All came out within 41 days of each other.
Yeah, and dude, I was a sophomore college.
Yeah, you'd have been 20.
It was huge.
I was 10.
Yeah.
There's a website. Go do it sometime, or just Google it or whatever.
Yeah.
Sorry, Google. I know you're watching me.
Yeah.
You know everything I like. But the 100, all of the game-changing rock albums that were released in 1970. There's 100 of them.
Oh my!
I mean, you just like, now again, I grew up in it, and that was the thing. If your taste was changing in the beginning, you had to hunt for it. You had to go to illegal stations.
Right.
You had to find stuff, or you had to get a radio that would get stuff from cities that weren't nearby.
Yeah.
Why do you think those great albums came out in the 70s? Do you think it was the Vietnam influence?
Time for change?
Gee whiz, 1,000 things. All those things.
Yeah.
Well,
L.A., you had the Hollywood scene. You had the West Coast scene that was kind of starting to make its way here. You had a lot going on. Woodstock.
I don't know that I'm qualified to answer that, but except festivals made a difference.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. The idea that 500,000 people could get together and not kill each other. That was kind of neat.
500,000.
Almost. I was this close to going. Roger Exline and I were going to go together.
Oh, man.
And
Dad said he was going to go and he didn't know about it till it was over.
Is that right?
Yeah, he said.
Your dad was like that about a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Said that he was good. Said after they heard about it, and by the time they realized what it was and got it planned, it was over.
Yeah. Well, Roger and I talked about August 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, 1969. Blair Tiffany and Alan Rowland, Carrie Brown, and I drove to Atlantic City, New Jersey. Okay.
Your senior year, is right to graduate?
Yes. I was still 17. I wasn't 18 yet.
And you take off and go to Jersey City.
Yeah, well, to Atlantic City.
In Jersey.
Yeah. And at the Atlantic City racetrack, they had a festival, and we went. It cost $30 for a ticket for 3 days.
Okay.
$30.
$30.
Okay.
Now, who was there? We got to hear about this.
First day that I remember, there was a band called AUM, and they were from somewhere in New Jersey. They were so good. And I never heard of them after that festival.
Yeah.
B.B. King, he cried. There's 100,000 white kids going nuts over his music, and he said, "You have no idea what this means to us."
Oh my, yeah.
Right?
Oh wow,
That's
Right?
awesome, man.
You know, it's like 95 degrees, and he's in a green sharkskin suit.
Yeah,
just sweating, like, right? And just tearing it up, right?
And, so, and he breaks down, tells the crowd. I mean, that's pioneer shit.
Yeah, I know.
You know?
So you got all these white kids out here.
Yes. He said, we got a whole new audience, and it's thanks to bands like Led Zeppelin and the Stones and people who brought us to the forefront, show what we did. They're doing our stuff. You know, and we're glad you want to hear us do it. So, you know.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, they were the kind of behind the scenes guys, really,
yeah,
in
right.
some cases.
Oh, my gosh. Behind the Stones, good grief, everything was them.
Yeah.
You know. But I can't go through them all, but, you know, I can remember during the daytime, not everybody, Canned Heat, Frank Zappa and the Mothers of Invention.
Oh boy.
Joni Mitchell was right after Canned Heat, and they booed her off the stage. She cried. Nobody wants to hear me. Rock out, bitch.
Yeah. Get out of here. Yeah.
You know,
That's awesome, man.
It was just totally badly timed. Right? She wanted to be the flower girl.
And it's like, hey, you're in the wrong spot for this one, girl.
We're ready to rock. Shit.
Badly produced, right? So anyway, Little Richard, Ike and Tina Turner Review, Janis Joplin, Jefferson Airplane, the Chambers Brothers brought the house down with Time Has Come Today.
Oh, yeah.
They were it. Iron Butterfly, Creedence Clearwater.
So you saw all them that weekend?
Yes.
For
this was on
30 bucks?
Yeah. Procol Harum. Oh, my gosh.
How many people were there?
100,000. And you never heard of it. Okay. And Woodstock, I actually talked to Jorma Kaukonen about it first time I met him. Well, I went down to meet him when I was judge and trying to work out something with them. And I said, I saw you 23 years ago at Atlantic City. He looked through the fog, you know, you could see him. Okay, he goes, Janice was there, wasn't she? And I said, yeah, she was. She goes, I said, I almost went to Woodstock. He said, you went to a much better festival. You know,
What
was that festival called?
Yorma was at Woodstock.
the Atlantic City Pop Festival.
Okay.
You know, and there's all kinds of. There's not a lot of stuff on the internet, but there's some, and a lot of misinformation. People that have put stuff up that's just not true. You know, they weren't there. You know, Crosby, Stills, and Nash were supposed to be there. That was supposed to be their opening show, and they didn't feel ready. So they waited till Woodstock. Okay. And I think they had performed some other rehearsal place before they did Woodstock, but they didn't do Atlantic City. You know, the Moody Blues were supposed to be there. They didn't show. You know, but I mean, just think of all the people we saw, right?
Oh, my.
Santana comes out. They had them on the bills, the Santana Blues Band. And he comes out and he goes, we're not a blues band. They did their whole first album, which had almost no singing on it at all.
Yeah.
No one had ever heard anything like that.
Yeah.
I mean, you had 100,000 people just there with their mouths open because
just that Mexican rock and roll style.
It was like, and then of course they came out with their second album, which was a triumph, but so. We were adventuresome about stuff. We did things. We went to see a band at a little club in Columbus, Lighthouse, and they were good. It sort of they were all classically trained. They had a cello player. They had guitars and everything else, but their horn section and stuff were all classical players. So they were excellent. And I think, if I remember, there were 8 people in the club that we went to. They came over and hung out with us.
That's awesome.
What did you stay in whenever you went to that 3-day concert? In a car? Did you
No.
tent?
We drove there and got a room within walking distance of the thing. We went to this
100,000 people.
You're walking to the concert.
Literally, yeah. We drive in, and it was like, it showed vacancy. It was like, can't be true, right? So we go in, and the guy said, "Oh, these people made a reservation. They didn't show up. You want the room?" No. Sure, we'll do that. I mean, and so I have traveling. You want to go someplace, have good luck, have a great time, I'm your guy. Okay?
Okay.
All kinds of stuff happens.
Yeah.
But that, again, part of that is that you have to make your own luck.
There you go.
Right?
Yeah. Roll with the punches and enjoy what you're doing.
Yeah. You can get mad about any of that.
Since we're on music, Ethan and I, he worked at a summer camp, and I used to go pick him up when he was done. We drove into the city. We went into New York. There was a girl there that I didn't know her. I knew her mother. And she said, if you ever get to New York, call me up, and I'll call her. And she worked with a restaurant chain of really high-level restaurants. And, she'll... So I called her. I said, hey, know your mom? Oh, yeah, she told me. And she was she was trying to be a singer, working with this restaurant group. And then, so we went, and she got us dinner. We went real early, and, it was terrific. Right up by Carnegie Hall. Anyway, so we do it, and she goes, "You ought to come out to Central Park tonight." All right. We can do that. Said, "What's going on?" Well, some people from back home, because she was from Tennessee, from back home are going to play. And I'm like, who? Well, David Rawlings and Emmylou Harris.
Oh, my God.
And Jillian Welch. And I'm like, my eyes are getting this big, right?
Going, here we go.
And I was like, and she said, it's free. All you got to do is show up, okay, tell us how. And so we went. So we get there like 45. I'm like we go to a ball game. I want to go when the gates open. I want to be
there. Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So we go, and we're like the only ones there. There's like 15 people with blankets on the ground. We stood in line for a little while, but hardly anybody's there yet. They had a little stage set up, and they had police tape, that keep out or some worthless saying like that.
Yeah.
And I said, and Ethan and I were there, and I said, "You want to meet Emmylou Harris?" Well, he said, "Well, you can't do that." And I said, "See that tape? They don't mean that." I said, "They'd have people stand out here if they wanted to keep you out."
Yeah.
They're just
trying.
All they're doing is
visual barrier.
Yeah. They're really relying on your goodwill.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have any. So, and I said, "Here's the secret. If you get back there and anybody says anything to you like, 'Who are you?' or 'Do you belong here?' just act like you're lost and walk away. And get out. Go under the tape and forget it. Don't be getting stupid."
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So we went back and met several people, and somebody finally said, you don't have a badge, who are you? And we're lost, we're leaving.
Yeah.
But anyway, I've had all kinds of stuff like that.
That's cool.
I drove Carlos Santana to the airport one time. I spent the day with Richie Havens. Ethan and I got on to, Merle Haggard's bus. With him, just stuff,
Well, did you find yourself, like your taste in music, evolving a little bit, like, and all you got your sons, they start listening to music, they start to, and I'm sure you were probably influencing some of the music they were listening to. Did they in turn influence any music with you that you thought, hey man, I kind of like this stuff?
Oh, absolutely.
Some of the stuff there, some of the stuff that they were
probably introduced him to Sturgill and Tyler.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes, those are the latest.
Yeah.
The Avett brothers, Adam just, you got to go. So I've seen them 3 times, and
You guys, Cross Canadian Ragweed, you guys,
right?
Yeah. You guys got into them for a while together?
No. I went to see Trampled by Turtles.
Oh, I love that. But
I thought you guys were big Ragweed. Cross Canadian Ragweed.
No, that's a new one to me.
Well, I know one of your boys
definitely
is.
check them out.
Yeah, I know
Well,
one of your boys.
Trampled by Turtles is great.
Adam's the new grass guy,
Okay.
right? And yes, Tyler and Simpson are now on my radar. And again, no offense to your country western listeners, I just still cringe when I hear the twang. I just can't stop myself, But Tyler's music's going to get much better. I mean, I think he's gonna do what Dylan did, in the sense that as he ages and as he has more experience and that kind of thing. A lot of his poetry is about other people's experience. The coal mine stuff and dying in the, strike breaking stuff. That's not his stuff. That's not him.
Yeah.
That's his people. That's the experience of the area. Right. And that's all fine. But when it's yours, then something else happens.
Yeah.
And
he's making his own.
Yes.
He's in the process now of living his own.
Yes, and I think that it's sort of like the blues guy that's really great at 15. How many blues you got at 15? Right?
Yeah.
You're
definitely going to get better.
Yeah. It'll turn into something more mature. Yes, but see, they're the ones that got me to go to Merle Haggard.
Yeah.
And I mean, look, I had the hangover from Okie from Muskogee because I was at OU when Okie from Muskogee was the only song that they played in all the towny bars.
Okay.
Right? And if you wanted 25-cent Goebel ales, you had to go to a towny bar and you had to listen to that song. So
what do you want to say?
Global ales?
Goebel.
Goebel.
Yeah.
Ales.
25 cents.
25-cent lager or ale beer.
Goebel.
They were like in little Duke
Is that a
bottles.
good? Yeah. Is that a good Cincinnati beer?
I
Goebel.
have no idea.
It might be. I don't know.
I was never a beer
Listeners,
drinker
how the
very
hell do
much.
you know that?
Dude, I like cheap beer is like my. It's like a second religion.
Yeah.
Like the black labels of the world and all that. I love.
Evidently.
This is well above my. I'm swinging. I'm punching well above my weight right now.
That Keystone's solid. That Keystone's solid.
Oh, I love it. The Stone. Yeah, the Canoe.
So you had the towny bars where so you're talking about, well, they had one whenever I was there down there by the flower shop off of State, and it just shut down over going towards the park and Miller's Chicken.
Oh, yeah.
What was that little bar called? I can't.
Cat's Den?
No.
I don't know.
Right beside the Smiling Skull?
No, way on past that.
Oh, okay. I don't
Okay.
know.
I'm
Yeah.
lost then.
Yeah.
Almost down to the Elks.
Almost no, back this way. Right there by the cemetery. You know where the cemetery is?
Yeah, exactly.
Turn right and go up in there. And there was a
Oh, okay. I know where you're talking about.
There was a bar right
Yeah.
there on the corner before you got to Miller's
Timmy
Chicken.
Needham would know where that is.
Yeah. It was a good Sunday.
Timmy
50
and
cent
Hillary.
beer.
Yeah.
Ethan's been there.
Oh yeah, I think I've been there with Ethan.
He couldn't tell you the name, but
They just shut it
I've
down.
probably been there before too. I don't know.
But
I didn't. Did you ever go to Club 33?
I only heard the stories. The
Was it-
Bob Walton stories.
Was it
and
shut down by the time you
Zeke
got there?
Glasgow breaking the place up
Yeah.
and all that stuff.
Well, but
Not Zeke.
There was a lot of local bands played over there.
yeah.
at that
Oh,
time.
yeah.
That was,
See,
you know.
Donnie Jenkins used to play there all the time with the bands he was in.
Yep.
You
What?
know.
So were all the bars back at OU back in? Did they have live music? Because they don't now.
I don't think so. I don't think that there was a lot of live music, I was, again, when I was there, I was on the campus entertainment committee. That's how I
Okay.
got to drive Carlos Santana to the airport.
Cool. So you were like
Right.
Dusty Kilgore.
Well, sort of.
More or less.
But see, they used to have a committee of students that booked all the acts.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that's
All
cool.
right?
Yeah.
And we booked everything, And see, that's a part of my education. A couple of things happened when I was there. I had a friend who was very musically. He was into David Bowie before anybody knew. He was David Bowie and the Spiders from Mars. The original stuff. He was from Cleveland, so they played there like every other week.
Yeah.
And he was very sophisticated. And then Dark Side came out that year, right? And we were, exploring all kinds of stuff, trying to hear stuff that was really, really different.
Yeah,
we heard a lot
you're trying to find stuff.
Yeah, we were, what's the next big thing? I mean, the Beatles, I don't want to say were passed by, but there was so much more past them at this point.
Yeah.
They weren't it wasn't just the Beatles and the Stones anymore.
Right.
It was...
Yeah.
all these bands in Buffalo, Springfield, and they split up and they go two different ways. And then they come back together. And, all kinds of things were going on.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, I got to be on the Campus Entertainment Committee at the time, which was just, oh, wow, that was so great. So I got to see the inner workings, and there was a guy on the committee who's from Toledo, and I can't remember, and he was a jazz aficionado, and he kept saying, we got to get weather report here. And I was like, I've never heard of weather report. Yeah. I don't know if you've ever heard any of their stuff.
No.
Oh my gosh. Again,
Imagine that
I'm
Google
not,
search.
I'm not saying that you would listen to it and like it. But I think you need to listen to some stuff that you don't like once in a while to go, just what are these people doing?
Yeah.
Because it expands your ability to do what you like better.
Sure.
And basically what those guys were just out there. Miroslav Vitus was the guy's name that was sort of the front guy for them.
Okay.
And oh my gosh, the complexity of their stuff. Well, that year, or one of the years that I was there, Frank Zappa and John McLaughlin, Mahavishnu Orchestra, were touring together. We saw them 3 times in 6 weeks. And they had a French jazz violinist named Jean-Luc Ponty, who's still around, play with them, and he played a blue electric violin. And we went to see them in Columbus at Veterans Memorial. I've had this experience 2 times. And we were probably row M or something. We were pretty close. And what they did was when the mothers came out, Ian Underwood came out first, and he was percussion. Came out, did all, xylophone and all those kind of secondary percussionary things. And he played a thing and set down a riff, basically, on his own. Then Ansley Dunsbar came out, drum solo, picked up his riff. They played together. There was 11 guys in the band, and they did that. Took an hour. Zappa comes out at the end. He does about 15 minutes. They have turned this nothing into all this stuff. 5,000 people at Vets. They went, da-da-da-da, big finish. Nothing. Nobody moved. It wasn't because it was bad. It was because you didn't know what to do. It was so good. You didn't know how to respond, right? And when they did, people were jumping on the chairs and, screaming, and they didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
Well, through that, and then the next show, we went to Kent State to see them. And through the next show, it was all their, Brown Shoes Don't Make It, and, Don't Eat the Yellow Snow, and all those, things that they did, And, first of all, I learned about musical versatility. And I bought a John McLaughlin album called Birds of Fire. And I don't want to say it's a hard album to listen to, but it's not a melodic album, right? It's expressive jazz. And he's an incredible guitar player. He did something to my brain. I don't know what it was. And I guess he taught me how to listen. It was like, I just sat in front of that album for days, and I just went, I have to know what this guy's doing. And I have to be able to incorporate what he does inside of my musical vocabulary, because the next guy that I hear that's like him, I want to be able to appreciate it. I don't have to say...
Was it a pretty long stretch?
Yeah, sure.
It was unlike anything you had heard and could get your arms around?
I guess things like that had gone by me before, right? But what I saw was those guys do that on stage, him play with them 3 times. They did all kinds of stuff and played together, and it was like, these guys aren't, I'll tell you the complete opposite. I went to see Mountain 3 times. The last 2 times, they were accidents. Okay. Everybody can talk about Leslie West all they want to, and everybody that knows guitar says he was a great player. Well, I never heard it. All I heard was 3 shows that were identical.
Yeah.
They came out, they played their song. They don't play Mississippi Queen till the encore. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Guess what everybody's yelling for? Well, shoot, if that's the only song anybody knows, everybody's going to yell for it, right?
Yeah.
You're not popular or good.
Yeah.
You just disappointed everybody for an hour and a half.
Your set list is just poorly arranged.
Yeah. Please play us that song.
Right.
Yeah.
So they do, and then they leave, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, that's the difference.
Yeah.
I want to go to I don't want to hear their album. I can stay home and hear it.
Yeah.
Right? I want to know what you can do musically.
And I think there's 1 out of 2 people's going to feel that way, and the other person might say, I want to hear the album.
Oh, absolutely. And there's a place for it. I'm not.
Hank Williams was notorious for that. You'd go to his show and
Did he just play the album?
no.
Yeah.
He would make up the 90% of the song on the spot.
Yeah.
And it was because he was a songwriter.
Sure,
And I mean,
sure.
he would whatever hit him, and it rhymed.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
And there
what
you go.
And it was nothing like the album.
Yeah. But I, again, versatility shows me something.
Yeah.
And I've gone to see bands that other people thought were wonderful and came away sort of, I had a good time.
Yeah.
It
Glad I
was
went.
fun. I'm
No,
glad
no.
I went. Glad I saw it. But
We'll do it again.
Yeah.
I'm not. Well, I wouldn't avoid them, but I wouldn't
Yeah.
go there on purpose.
Are you a musician yourself?
Piano a little bit, guitar a little bit.
Okay.
I'm too lazy. You can't be a good musician if you're lazy.
Yeah.
Well, but you don't have to be a You don't have to be a player to have a yeah. I got it. You don't have to be a good player or a player to be a music fan, though.
Oh no, man! I can't play a note. I
Yeah.
couldn't carry a tune in a 10-gallon bucket, but I love music. It was so interesting the way you described where music puts you. I could not be more similar and like-minded in that. Like that is my greatest escape. Like to sit and listen to music.
See, I'm totally different. Very rarely do I sit down and get in one of those modes.
Yeah.
I'm more. Hey, I'm thinking about if I have to listen to a song, it's to learn the song.
Right.
Right.
I'm more anymore like I just need it to pump me up in the back. I'm looking for feel good stuff.
Right. Well, see, my wife's got she likes to hear music, makes her feel good.
Yeah.
I said, but all the best music's written by depressives.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're just on the verge of killing themselves. So you got to.
I caught myself a few years ago. I was listening to nothing but like old country. Well, I was depressed, and I was like, I had to make a change. I was like, I got to get out of this. I was drinking heavy. I mean, it was awful.
So were they. That's why.
I was like, this music's got to change.
Yeah, I don't want to go get sad.
Yeah. But all those experiences, all the being able and learning that people were, just people, and some were jerks. Apologize to the rest of the Eagles, but Don Henley, biggest jerk I ever met. Okay.
They say all those guys are assholes.
I met him at the end of their first career when the country rock and all that stuff, and they were going to break up.
Are you going to go see him now?
Previous Joe Walsh.
Are you preview whenever they had?
Well, I saw them with Joe Walsh, and I saw
Bernie.
them everything, all the original band members, and saw them at Polaris 10, 12 years ago. It was a great show, well produced. I mean, everything about it was professional. Yes.
I want to see him now with Vince.
And
that's gonna be interesting.
Would I go? Sure, I'd go. Will I hunt them down to go see them? No, probably not.
Yeah, I would like to see him with Vince. I wish I'd have got to see Merle. I've seen Merle, but Jamboree in the Hills was a music festival that I went to for country stuff, and you got to see everybody.
Well,
everybody was there, so I got to knock a lot of those guys on the chain for that. But anything else? We need to talk about.
I'll tell you what, that was great. I'll tell you the one thing I'd like to ask is, hey, can we please do this again?
Yeah, let's do it again.
I think we could go down about three or four different avenues.
The next time that we bring you on here, I want to talk to you about how the guys that you bring here for concerts and stuff. Mm-hmm. You introduced me to Jeff Atchison.
Right.
Yeah.
I've been a fan of his now since you had him up here at the old gas company where 6 Cents is now.
Right.
I remember that show. That was in like 2006 probably.
Right. Yeah, we got to talk about that again with what we got going upstairs and everything.
Yeah, because we kind of did that upstairs this year with Donnelly. He came in and he went upstairs.
Oh, is that right? I'd love to have seen him.
And it was a spur of the moment 2 days. We did it in 2 days.
Yeah.
I went to a conference. This is how small the world is, right? I went to a conference in Nashville as a judge. Mm-hmm. Stayed at the hotel. Asked them, hey, where should I eat? Mm-hmm. I went to the restaurant. It was a nice restaurant. Sat at the bar, ate. Got out, right? Went back to my hotel. Something came up. I ran into Joyce, Donnelly, Nick's mom. Said, I was in Nashville, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I stayed at this hotel and whatever. Went to this restaurant. Said it was really pretty good, whatever it is. And you go, well, that's where Nick works. And I was like, well, where? He said, well, he works in the bar. And I was like, I sat in the bar. She said you had to be there on a Thursday. I said, yeah, it was Thursday night. He doesn't work on Thursday. But I'd love to have seen him.
But he's not doing that anymore. He has hit it. Is
he doing bad?
It's his full-time songwriter.
Stuff? Oh, good.
Well, he just had I know it was top 10.
Oh boy, there you
go. He's got a couple more things that are getting ready to pop. Nice. So he's doing really well. So we had him. He what? We had a blast. It was 2 days. We didn't want to invite any more than about 30 people.
All right.
And because we didn't know about the Joyce system upstairs.
Yeah.
And but he came in and
brought the house down.
Aaron Myers.
We had him on the show.
Oh, we had him on the show. Aaron Myers. So I opened up, and then Aaron Myers played, and then Nick played, and it was a good time. It was.
How great!
Everybody just brought a cooler and a chair.
Yeah,
and I mean,
that's
and we turned the lights off up there. We had a spotlight on the stage, and I mean, people just loved it. We're going to do that again.
Right.
So we'll definitely. We talked to you, and we might do some jointly up there. I know we talked about it when I was at the bar, about bringing somebody in. But now that I'm not at the bar, we'll do it here.
Right.
But
And I'd love to talk to you because it's not about the money. I don't care about it.
No, we don't either.
We don't either.
When
I was at the bar, it was about the money.
Yeah, right. Oh, sure. But I'd like to try to do something like that again, even if it's a mixed genre kind of a thing, or whether it's bluegrass or newgrass or something that's different than what I try to do. But it was so much
McGuffey Lane.
So much fun to do.
Oh, they're a blast. Blast to do.
I mean, and I think that what I learned was over time you built trust with your audience, right?
Yeah.
And I was bringing people nobody'd ever heard of, and it's like all I can tell you is just show up. There'll be great,
Yeah.
And a lot of them I borrowed from Fur Peace. They were people that were playing sort of the second act at Fur Peace. And, I would always call them and say, is it okay if I contact these guys, and didn't want to get into their stuff and that kind of thing. And, doing that was really an education and stuff I love to do. My problem with it was, and I don't know why I like stress so much, but I do. I used to umpire baseball for relaxation. That is not relaxation.
Events are still stressful.
Yeah.
But the thing was, I felt responsible for everybody's
It was
good
good time.
time in the room.
Yeah.
And you can't do that. You can't.
Well, that's what makes you good at doing them.
You can't. Two things: you get quality entertainment, and you get a good sound guy. Now you're ready to go.
Now you're ready to go.
You got bad sound and Pavarotti, you're in trouble. Yeah. Right?
I've told these guys that 1,000 times.
Yeah.
Sound is huge.
The number one guy in the room is the sound guy.
Yep.
Because nobody sounds good if he doesn't do it right.
Yep.
So anyway. So I'm going to say thanks to my dad for taking me to see Harry Belafonte when I was like 13. That would have been the first concert I ever saw.
Okay.
And he took me to see him twice. And you talk about a professional and somebody that could really do it. And he had 2 guitar players that played for him that my dad even my dad was like, you got to come and hear these guys play guitar.
Yeah.
And they were fabulous, So that love of the event, that kind of thing. I got 1,000 stories. I'll bore everybody to death.
Well, we're going to bring you back.
Yeah, we're bringing you back because I've enjoyed every one of them.
Yeah. So we're
Thank you for
how
sharing.
far are we? About almost 2 hours.
Just shy of 2.
Just shy
Okay,
of 2.
well, I'm very sorry.
No, you did
we're
great.
good.
Sorry to the audience.
No.
Thank you very much
Thank
for
you for
coming
sharing.
on.
You
I
guys
appreciate it.
enjoyed it.
We've always
Thank you
shared
so
the love of
much.
music.
Thank you very
And I'll give you you saved my life over that Tom Petty sound violation. You're the reason
He was
we're doing
understanding.
this.
He was understanding.
Yeah.
Well, it was that or DYS, right?
Yeah.
See, if you'd have said, I was listening to Merle Haggard,
Yep.
See ya.
Throw the book at him. He won't drive for a year.
he's useless.
Hit that like and subscribe
then-
button, folks.
And then I learned different, right? Thank you, everybody.
And Judge Michael, Steve, what do we call
Thank
you?
you. Please call me Steve.
All right.
I'd like to join the real world
okay,
again.
yeah. Steve Michael.
All right.
Thanks, guys. Have a
Thank
great
you,
night.
everybody.
See you.
Like and subscribe.